Welcome back, my name's Steve and thank you for joining me on my photography journey today. This week I want to talk about photo editing again. This is something that we've talked about in the past, but over the last year or two there have been quite a lot of updates to Adobe Lightroom and Lightroom Classic, and these are the two options for photo editing without getting into Photoshop, without other manufacturers obviously, but Lightroom and Lightroom Classic are the two different options from Adobe, and I just want to have a look at some of the differences between them. I guess the first question is, why is there more than one? So we have the desktop-based Lightroom Classic, and then we have the web-based or cloud-based Lightroom. They do have their own pros and cons, and I use them both in different situations, so that's what I'm going to talk about today, is why I would pick one over the other and in what situations I use each one. I think the biggest difference between the two is where your pictures are actually saved. So this is either on an SSD like this one, or your computer hard drive. This is what I save mine on when I'm using Lightroom Classic, and in fact I've actually recently updated. This is a 1 terabyte drive. I used to have a 500 gig, but I filled that up because obviously I've taken quite a few pictures over the last year or two. The other benefit to having it on a portable SSD drive is that I can use my laptop and my desktop computer for my editing, and I've always got my pictures with me. Obviously I also back this up, but I have this with me so that wherever I am I can edit those pictures. Whereas with Lightroom it's not quite the same. Anything that you import into Lightroom is saved there in the cloud so that it's always accessible whenever you log into Lightroom. So this could be on any computer, this could be on your phone, this could be on a tablet, either of those. It's all using that cloud-based storage that comes with your Adobe subscription. So I use the photography plan and I get some storage with that. I pay every month to be able to use Lightroom, Lightroom Classic and Photoshop. Gives me that cloud storage on top of that, so I save all my pictures there when I'm using Lightroom itself. This also means that your pictures in Lightroom that you import directly into Lightroom, the web version, this can get confusing. So I'm going to call Lightroom Classic desktop one, the kind of one that looks like this, slightly old-fashioned, and then I'll just call this one Lightroom. On Lightroom, all of your images are stored in the cloud, so that means that they are automatically backed up as well. Everything is on Adobe servers, it's kept safe by them so that you can access it whenever you want. The same is not true for Lightroom Classic. Everything is stored locally, like I said, on my SSD drive, and that means that I have more control over it because it's in my hand. But it also means I could drop it, I could lose it, it could break, it could get stolen. So it's on me to back that up. I do that in two ways. I back it up to another hard drive, another external hard drive. And I also use a service called Backblaze, where it stores it on their servers. It's a backup service. Whenever I plug this into my computer, it looks at the drive, sees what changes there's been, and backs it up to the cloud so that it's always there for me. I've got a link in my description for a free 1 month with Backblaze if you want to give it a try. I do recommend it and I've used it for a long time. There is another option of backing up your photos in Lightroom Classic, and that is by syncing them to the cloud, to Lightroom. So let me just show you that now. On these pictures you can see this little icon at the side, and this is showing that this folder, this collection, is backed up to Lightroom. So these pictures in here, so for example this is my Q4 2023, so I break it down into every year into 4 quarters and then back up my most recent one to Lightroom so that I've always got some pictures in Lightroom that I can just edit if I'm on a plane, if I'm traveling, if I'm just sat on the sofa and don't have my laptop with me. So this symbol means that they are synced to Lightroom. It doesn't sync the entire file, it syncs a smart preview and saves that in your cloud storage. So it doesn't take up as much space, but it's also not the full resolution image. Again, you'd need this in order to be able to export at its full quality. but you can do all your editing and everything like that without any problems at all. So on the editing side of things, they do look different. Lightroom Classic definitely has a more old school look to it. I hated it when I first used it. I had no idea why everyone really liked it. This was the point at which a lot of the features in Lightroom Classic were not available in Lightroom itself, so I had to use that to get some of these features. Now, as there's been more and more updates, the Lightroom web-based version has all of these features. There's very little that's different between the two when it comes to editing. So let's just quickly edit a picture in both of them and go through the different tools that are available. So let's have a look at Lightroom first of all. We've got all of our presets that are available on both applications, so we can choose one, we can choose the amount that we apply to it. That's in that top one. This is all of our normal settings, so we can do auto, we can do black and white, we can change the color profile as this is a raw picture. We can add combinations of the two things. We can adjust our exposure and our basic settings, our tone curve, the temperature, all the usual settings that you would normally find. Double clicking on them will reset them. Let's get rid of these from that preset, which is far too much. There we go. So this point color is a new thing. You can choose a particular area and affect just that one color. So you can choose its saturation, hue, and things like that. All the same effects, so texture, clarity, vignette we can add. I do like doing that. And the denoise algorithm. This is a relatively new thing, and it's a smart preview, but on a full file you will be able to do that. You've got your lens corrections. Oh, this is the newest thing. This is the lens blur. So it can look at the depth from the photo data to see if there's a subject, and then try and give a bit of a blur to the background after that. So you click apply, and then you can down here you can visualize the depth, so it will show you the different areas. You can then adjust that as you need to, and then choose the amount of blur that has for the bits that are kind of meant to be out of focus. So you've got basically all the same tools. You can do all your cropping, healing. Again, this is something that didn't used to be here, so you can make our brush bigger and get rid of that poor duck in the background. And yeah, subject detection, masking, everything that you could want really, and that's it. So what more could you want really from your editing? So here is a Lightroom Classic, and the layout is different. That's the first thing to add. Presets on the left hand side, you've got your auto, you've got your cropping, healing, and things like that up at the top here. They both work in exactly the same way. You can zoom in and out. Let me make this brush a bit smaller. There we go. So we can get rid of these poor swans this time. And depending on the tool you use, you can again reset as everything else. Oh yeah, this is the other tool that we can use. So that's the same as the other one. Scrolling down, you've got your different options in here, your tone curves and things. Like I said, the layout's a bit different. Things are in slightly different places, so we can just play around with this. That doesn't look too bad, does it? You've got the same color mixer, so you can choose a point for the color. Let's choose the sky this time, and then we can change the shift on there. Just small changes make a big difference, I find, so try not to overdo anything. This isn't an editing video, but just to show the different tools. Again, denoise, same thing, and it will get rid of any noise. This is what we couldn't do in the smart preview, but because this is the full file, we can do. And it just gets rid of any noise in the shadows. It actually works really well. Again, you can choose how much you apply. We've got our different tools for, there's the lens blur, vignettes, and things like that as well. So it's all there, it's just in slightly different places. The way that you organize files in Lightroom Classic and Lightroom is, the basics of it are the same. They're called collections in Lightroom Classic or albums in Lightroom. And it's your basic organization method. So you might have a folder titled cats, or a folder titled Isle of Wight 2023, or whatever it is, whatever you've done to classify them. So I tend to do it on the location that I was at when I was taking the particular pictures. So that's my basic organization. As I said earlier, that collection in Lightroom Classic can be synced to the cloud, to Lightroom, and it'll be named the same in both platforms. Any changes that you make in one will appear in the other as well. So that's a really good way of having a kind of backup and being able to do your editing on whichever platform happens to be with you at that particular time. Lightroom Classic is good for adding your own keywords. So if you wanted to call something by a particular name, so for example, rather than just a picture of a dog, you wanted to call it the dog's name, so Ruby, for example. That is easier to do in Lightroom Classic. But if you just wanted to find generic dogs, if you search for dog in Lightroom, it will look and use its intelligence, its AI, to classify the images and look for images of dogs. It's not always completely accurate. So this is searching on Lightroom, and what we can do is search for cat, for example. And we get these images. Once we've done that, there we go. Ah, there's me and Tammy. But what we could also do is search for swan, for example, and that will bring up any pictures of swans. Now, yes, that's very clever because I've not tagged any of these. So these are the ones that the Lightroom itself has determined to have pictures of swans, and that's what it finds for me. Works really well. So what we can see here is that Lightroom has more kind of automatic tagging, automatic searching, and that kind of thing. It's kind of classified for you. When you're in Lightroom Classic, you can label things with your own keywords. So these are your collections at the side. So these are my current pictures. Let's just pick one. Right, let's collapse that and let's look at this side. So this side, you have your metadata about kind of what the picture is, and then your keywords. So in here, you can enter whatever keywords you want. So black and white, what else? It's a street. We're in Crowthorne. And it is got trees, cars, there's a brick wall. So all of these things I have now added as keywords. So if I searched for one of those, then I would be able to find any pictures that have got these keywords. You've also got suggestions or different sets you can create. There is a keyword option, so in here, there we go, and then we can see all of our keywords that we have created already. I've only tagged this one picture, so this is the only one that's coming up for the moment, but this is a quite a good way of doing it. And you can also, like I was going to do, just search for something, but like dog doesn't come up because I've not tagged any pictures with the keyword dog. I mean, I could do, and then I'd be able to find them, but at the moment, none of my pictures have that keyword. So there we go. That's how we can do that in Lightroom Classic. And now when I search for those pictures will come up. Like I said, Lightroom does it more automatically, but it's a bit more vague as well. You can add your own keywords, but it's easier to do in Lightroom Classic. I prefer Lightroom Classic. I prefer it when I'm sat at my laptop, when I'm sat at my desktop. I've got my SSD so that I can access my catalog. I can have that whole vast terabytes worth of photos available to me all the time. I can edit one as much as I like, but I prefer Lightroom when I don't have this, or when I just want to make a quick edit. So on my phone, on my tablet, on my laptop, when I'm sat at the airport waiting to go traveling. Those are the kind of times that Lightroom is perfect for me, really. And like I said, I like both of them. There's no right or wrong. I use them both equally. So the fact that they both have basically the same tools now means that I can use them interchangeably, which makes a big difference to my workflow. I can just open whichever one I happen to be wanting to use at the time and just edit a picture. How do you use them? Leave a comment down below if you do something different, if you prefer one over the other. It'd be interesting to know if I've missed anything, if there's a hidden feature on one of them that I'm not using, for example. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you again next time on my photography journey. Have a great week. Bye.